what do you think, what have been some of your challenges and how have you overcome these? And what do you think have been some of your benefits, ways you benefited as you walked through that?
Okay, well, the challenges with polyamory, and this was especially true 20, 25 years ago when I was first getting into this. Probably one of the biggest challenges has to do with what in the homosexual world was called coming out issues. So people, particularly 20, 25 years ago, and to some extent this is still true, have a lot of judgments about anyone who's not monogamous, especially a woman. There's a lot of discrimination, particularly in certain professions. It's really not safe to be a polyamorous person if you're really any kind of professional, unless you're specializing in working with polyamory, which is kind of what I decided to do. But it's been very difficult for people that are clergy people, politicians, teachers, anybody who needs a security clearance. All these things make it difficult to be a polyamorous person. Now, for me, I chose a way to integrate it into my life where it was an asset rather than a liability, but there's still difficulty fitting into a mainstream culture that is, if not judgmental, fearful of people who are not the same as they are. And this is really a huge issue for people, and I think one of the biggest downsides, honestly. Another less, might seem frivolous, but nevertheless important downside is that you've probably discovered, even if you're still in your early 20s, that relationships can take a lot of time. And so more than one relationship, even if there's not a lot of drama associated with it or other difficulties, it's time consuming. And so if you are doing something that doesn't give you a lot of free time, like pursuing a career or raising children, unless you're doing it in a polyamorous family, in that case it could actually free up time. But most people are not doing this. The most common form still for polyamory is the open couple or the intimate network, which would be both single people and couples who are relating intimately but not living together. They're kind of dating in a way. And there can be varying degrees of commitment there. There's still relatively few people who are doing the group marriage thing, and I don't have any numbers for any of these things because no one has prioritized spending money to do a national survey that would really tell us how many people are living this way. We kind of have to guess. But those are some of the we could say social or cultural difficulties. On a personal level, the biggest problem by far for just about everybody is jealousy, either one's own or one's partner's. For me, it was more often dealing with partner's jealousy, and that doesn't mean that I don't have any, but I had a lot of good tools for dealing with it, and I also was not somebody who was wired up to be really highly jealous. So unfortunately many of my partners were wired up to be jealous, or their partners were. And so it's very difficult when people are raised in a culture that tells you that there's something wrong if your partner wants to be with somebody else. That means there's something wrong with you. That means there's something wrong with your relationship. It's not considered a natural thing. And so most people who try polyamory are going to have jealousy come up. Now, in the polyamorous world, a lot of people, if they want to be good polyamorous people, they're not supposed to have jealousy. And so it puts people in kind of a double bind. And often what happens is people try to ignore or deny their jealousy until it gets so big that there's an explosion of some kind. It does require emotional intelligence. It does require good communication tools. And a lot of people don't have these things. It's not part of the education that is automatically given to a person in our culture. I hope this is changing, but it's still kind of a rarity for people to really develop their full capacity in terms of self-knowledge and understanding of what's going on in them, how to communicate about it in a way that creates more intimacy rather than creates conflict. All these kinds of things are still relatively new.